The summer evening air hung thick and humid over the winding country road. David Martinez adjusted his rearview mirror and glanced back at his 6-year-old daughter, Emma, who was fast asleep in her car seat. They were driving home from a piano lesson, the same route they took every Tuesday evening. The familiar landmarks rolled past his window: the old oak tree with the tire swing, the weathered red barn, the creek that sparkled in the fading sunlight. David's hands gripped the steering wheel a little tighter than usual. It had been 3 years since the accident that took his wife, Sarah. 3 years of learning to be both mother and father to Emma. 3 years of quiet dinners and bedtime stories read by lamplight. He had grown accustomed to the routine, found comfort in its predictability. But sometimes, on drives like this, memories would surface without warning. The road ahead curved gently to the left, bordered by tall pine trees that cast long shadows across the asphalt. David knew this stretch well. It was the same curve where Sarah had her accident. He always slowed down here, his foot instinctively finding the brake pedal. Tonight was no different. That's when he saw the smoke. At first it was just a thin gray line rising above the treetops. But as he rounded the curve, the scene unfolded before him like a nightmare made real. A silver sedan had crashed into the guardrail, its front end crumpled like paper. Orange flames were already licking at the hood, and black smoke billowed into the darkening sky. David's heart hammered against his ribs. He pulled over immediately, his hands shaking as he turned off the engine. Emma stirred in the back seat but didn't wake up. He grabbed his phone and dialed 911, his voice steady despite the fear coursing through him. There's been an accident on County Road 47, he said to the dispatcher. Car's on fire. I think someone might be trapped inside. Without waiting for a response, he pocketed the phone and ran toward the wreckage. The heat hit him like a wall, but he pushed through it. Through the spider-webbed windshield, he could see a figure slumped over the steering wheel, a woman with long auburn hair that caught the FIRELIGHT. The driver's side door was jammed shut, but the passenger door gave way after several hard pulls. David crawled across the seat, his lungs burning from the smoke. The woman was unconscious, her face pale and streaked with blood from a cut on her forehead. Her breathing was shallow but steady. Come on, he whispered, working to unbuckle her seatbelt. Stay with me. The flames were spreading faster now, creeping toward the fuel tank. David knew they had only minutes, maybe less. He managed to get his arms under the woman and pulled her across the seat. She was heavier than he expected, her body limp and unresponsive. The heat was becoming unbearable, but he forced himself to keep moving. Step by step, he carried her away from the burning car. 20 feet, 30, 50. When he finally felt safe enough to stop, he laid her gently on the grass beside the road. Her eyes fluttered open just as the car's gas tank exploded behind them, sending a column of fire into the night sky. David shielded her face from the blast, his own body trembling from exhaustion and adrenaline. When he looked down at her again, she was staring up at him with eyes he recognized, eyes the same shade of green as Sarah's, eyes that belonged to a face he had seen in old photographs tucked away in his wife's jewelry box. Rebecca, he whispered, hardly believing it. The woman blinked slowly, confusion clouding her features. David, is that ... Is that really you? It was Sarah's younger sister. The sister who had disappeared from their lives 8 years ago after a bitter argument with their parents. The sister who had missed Sarah's wedding, Emma's birth, and Sarah's funeral because pride had built walls too high to climb. You're Sarah's husband, Rebecca said, her voice barely audible over the sound of approaching sirens. I was coming to find you. David felt something crack open inside his chest. Rebecca, what are you doing here? We didn't know where you were. Tears began to stream down her soot-stained cheeks. I heard about Sarah. I know I'm 3 years too late, but I had to come home. I had to see Emma, to meet her properly. I have so much to make up for. The paramedics arrived then, their red and blue lights painting the scene in alternating colors. They took over Rebecca's care, checking her vitals and treating her injuries. David watched from a distance, his mind reeling. He thought about all the times Sarah had wondered aloud about her sister, or the unanswered letters and unreturned phone calls. Daddy, Emma's sleepy voice called from the car. What's happening? David walked back to his daughter, scooping her up in his arms. There was an accident, sweetheart, but everyone's going to be okay. Emma rubbed her eyes and looked toward the flashing lights. Are you a hero, Daddy? No, baby, he said, kissing the top of her head. I just helped someone who needed help. At the hospital, David sat in the waiting room while doctors examined Rebecca. She had a concussion and some bruised ribs, but nothing life-threatening. When they finally let him see her, she was sitting up in bed looking more like the young woman from Sarah's photographs. The doctors say I can go home tomorrow, she said, but I don't really have a home anymore. I sold everything after Mom and Dad died last year. I've been living in hotels trying to figure out what to do next. David pulled a chair close to her bed, What were you going to do when you found us? Asterisk Rebecca's smile was sad and hopeful at the same time. I was going to apologize to you, to Emma, to Sarah's memory. I was going to ask if there was any way I could be part of your lives, even just a little bit. Asterisk Sarah used to say that family isn't about the mistakes we make, David said quietly. It's about the choice to forgive and start over. She was always the wise one, Rebecca whispered. David thought about his daughter sleeping in the car, about the empty chair at their dinner table, about the bedtime stories that could be shared. Emma's been asking about aunts and uncles. She sees them in her picture books and wonders why she doesn't have any. Asterisk, I have something to tell you, Rebecca said, her voice growing stronger. I've done well for myself over the years. Very well. I started a tech company and it was acquired last year. I'm wealthy now, David, more than I ever dreamed, but all the money in the world can't buy back the time I lost with Sarah, or the chance to know Emma from the beginning. Asterisk David reached out and took her hand. It's not too late to know her now. Asterisk Rebecca squeezed his fingers. I was thinking maybe I could move back here. Buy a house nearby. I could help with Emma if you'd let me. I know I can't replace Sarah, but maybe I could be the aunt Emma deserves. Asterisk outside the hospital window. The first light of dawn was beginning to creep across the sky. David thought about the winding road that had brought them all together, about the strange way fate worked sometimes. He thought about Sarah, and what she would say if she could see them now. Asterisk, I think he said finally, that Sarah would be very happy to know her sister came home. Asterisk Rebecca smiled through her tears. Then let's go home, David. Let's go home.